Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I Overreacting, and it's by user Lost Strawberry. Am I overreacting? My boyfriend's friend has a problem with me asking him not to sleep in a bed with another woman. Hi everyone, my boyfriend has a big group of friends with lots of girls in it. A lot of times after they go out or have too much to drink, they'll crash at someone's house. One night, he came home and shared he slept in a bed with this girl, who the texts are from. We did not have a fight at all. I know he's grown up doing this. I told him I wasn't super comfortable with that and asked if he could not do that, to which he did not argue at all and expressed total respect for my boundaries. We have not spoken about it since. She texted me this morning after they went out, which are these pictures. Am I overreacting by telling her she's overstepping, or are her concerns valid? Hi, OP. So last night when Green Smudge, my boyfriend, Yellow Smudge people, and I went out, we all went back to Yellow Smudge's, and Green Smudge and I were going to take the pull-out couch, and he let me know you were not comfortable with him sleeping in a bed with me. While I totally understand, I want to let you know I have never tried to do anything with Green Smudge and would never. I felt bad that he had to sleep on the floor and it just didn't seem fair to him. I promise, there's nothing nefarious about us sleeping in a bed together. We've been friends for 16 years. Hey, Blue Smudge, I know nothing has ever happened between you two. Don't worry. For me, it's just a matter of what I feel is appropriate in my personal relationships. I trust him fully, but for me, I'm just not comfortable with him sharing a bed with another woman, even if he's known her for a while. It doesn't speak to either of you in terms of trustworthiness. It's just my boundary. Smiley face. Right, but he had to sleep on the ground. That doesn't seem fair, and he has back problems, so I'm sure he wasn't happy about it either. If it was a problem for him, he could have called me to pick him up or Ubered home or talked to me about it. He hasn't mentioned it to me. Okay, well, if I'm just being super transparent, it just feels like it's really over-the-top possessiveness, and it's not a good look for either of you. You can trust Green Smudge to sleep in a bed with his girlfriends, and seeing him sleep on the floor makes me sad for him. I really like you and the two of you together, but I know him very well, and I just wanted to give you an idea of how this might be affecting him or those around him. Blue Smudge, while I appreciate how much you care for Green Smudge, honestly, I feel like you're overstepping. This is not your business, and I find it strange you're being a little insistent on demanding he sleep in a bed with you. He agreed to this boundary wholeheartedly, and that's all you need to know about it. It's my relationship, and he knows he can come to me if he has a problem with it. I'm done talking about this with you. Thumbs up emoji. Well, OP, no, I don't think you're overreacting. I think you're absolutely right, and I think you handled it like a champ. Like, if she really felt that bad about him sleeping on the floor with his back problems and all of that, she could have told him, you know what, you take the bed, I'll take the floor. It's cool. I respect your relationship. Instead, she's sending you a message and talking about how possessive you are and how it doesn't look good or how it may affect those around him. She sounds annoying. So, no OP, again, I don't think you're overreacting, but I do think you might want to show these messages to your boyfriend so he knows what Blue Smudge is trying to pull here. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's move on to the community comments. SunFrequent7484 says, nah, you're right, it's 100,000%, that's a lot of percent, weird she's so insisted about sharing a bed. If she was so concerned about him on the floor, she could have taken the floor, yeah. You are valid to have boundaries, not overreacting at all. She's super weird. Jeepers Creepers 74 says, quote, we both agree not to sleep in the same bed as someone of the opposite gender, end quote. Is an agreement made by two people in a relationship and pretty common one at that. It is not common to allow one of the partner's good friends to weigh in on it or petition for an exception. This girl looks crazier with each subsequent text. Love how you turned the tables on her, quote, your possessiveness, bullying in the end by pointing out how weird it is that she was demanding your boyfriend can sleep in the same bed as her. Bravo! Whips and Flowers says, not overreacting. You're allowed to have boundaries, and I can't imagine arguing with another person over their boundaries in a relationship. I also wouldn't want my boyfriend sharing a bed with another woman. It looks so weird for her to argue with you this hard on this. But also, why is your boyfriend discussing stuff about your relationship with her? It's none of her business. And Opie responds, thank you. I think he probably just let her know why he suddenly will not share a bed with her, as it's something he's done with everyone in his friend group through his life. Haha. Powerful Elk 7253 says, she's trying to make it very clear that she feels like she's known him better than you do or ever will, LMAO. I feel like if this was me, I'd be asking him to reevaluate their friendship. Additional information from Opie's comments. He's 31, I'm 27. We've been together for 1.5 years. I wouldn't ask him to stop being friends with his girlfriends. They're very important to him, and honestly, I love that he has so many women who care about him. I personally think it's a red flag when men don't have women to vouch for their character. I like that they all feel safe with him. Now, with this friend group being so deeply intertwined, I recognized that setting this boundary might be seen by them as unusual behavior. But I feel it shouldn't matter to them if he's agreeing to it. I thought about it a lot before asking to set this boundary with him. How would we feel about a married man doing this with a different married woman? Like, when does it become inappropriate? I do trust him fully. It's just something I feel doesn't need to happen anymore. Now, he's a great communicator, so I doubt he asked her to say anything on his behalf, considering he's just one of those people that can fall asleep literally anywhere, and this girl is known to be an issue in the friend group. Also, regarding the night in question, they all went back to one of the guy friends' house after they went to a concert and a bar or two after. I'm okay with that, as long as he's safe. I had an early morning this morning, so his intention was to not wake me up. So the community agrees that OP is not overreacting and that the girl is kind of crossing a line. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Hi everyone, I have updates for you, but before that, if you are interested, I'll answer a few questions that were asked a lot in the original post. A couple of things to clear up now that I've spoken to him about it. 1. He doesn't have back problems. He twinged something in his back at the gym last week and it'll clear up soon. I don't know what she's on about with that, which I should have specified in my original post. 2. He took the cushions from the couch, which is where the pull-out bed is, and made himself a bed on the ground. Dude had a comforter and pillows and everything. This is hilarious to me because why was she so concerned about his back then? I bet that crap was more comfortable than the pull-out couch. It's also worth noting, he's the kind of guy that would fall asleep doing a handstand. He can literally sleep anywhere, anytime. 3. I don't want to get defensive, but I want to clarify I didn't demand he doesn't sleep in a bed with women. I asked him about it. He agreed because it's not a necessary activity in his life. Well, it's an easy one for him to cut out. His words are that he literally has no problem not sleeping in a bed with the girls. We're very open, and if something arises where that's an only option, I'm fine with that. 4. There was a lot of debate about this rule I said, and it was interesting to read how differently everyone feels about it. It's not that I don't trust him, it's that I find sleeping next to someone to be very intimate. I think it's an important part of our relationship to be unconscious next to each other. Lol. I'll often wake up kind of intertwined with him, and in my opinion, it's too intimate a thing to be doing with other women. Some other examples of this could be, you get hurt if your partner always goes to their friend for advice before you, or if they go out to a romantic restaurant together. It's not sexual, but maybe crosses a line in intimacy. And 5, I also don't want to share too much about her because I don't want to dox everyone, but she is known to be extremely jealous as all of the friends are starting to settle down with partners. I'm not shocked that this happened. Now, the update. So I showed him the texts and he literally could not believe it at first. I have never seen him get mad, but his face got red and he was really quiet for a moment. He said he was mortified by her behavior toward me. He asked me a million times if I was okay, lol. He said she argued with him about it at the time because it's never been an issue and he just brushed her off. I asked what exactly he said to her and his words are, "I said it makes you uncomfortable and I want to respect that." I'm cool with that response to her personally. He called her immediately and told her she crossed the line and needed to apologize to me, that her behavior makes it seem like she's trying to sabotage his relationship. And then he was honest with her that most of the friends' girlfriends don't like her and she needs to reevaluate how she's making people feel. I was surprised by this because he's typically not confrontational like that. I didn't hear her responses. She was not on speaker. They spoke about it for like 5 minutes. It wasn't the blow up some of you wanted. He was clearly not happy though. My favorite thing he said was, "You're doing a great job of pushing people away. No one wants the drama." He told her what's most important is that she apologizes to me and then he hung up. That was it. I have not received a text from her yet. I'm not sure yet what he's going to do regarding their friendship, but it's surely very damaged now. There's no doubt she will be out and about with the whole group at various points. I'm really not threatened by her. I can deal with a crazy woman and trust him enough to deal with her as well. She doesn't hold any sway over him. Also, everyone has been saying she wants him, but I really just think she wants to hold on to their dynamic. I've seen her type and it's about as opposite from my boyfriend as you can get. In skin color, body type, personality, all of it. So that's all I have for you guys. Sorry. Willoughby, I think it was a great update. Your boyfriend called her, put her in her place, and told her what he expected. Also, he gave her some information that she could reflect on. Hopefully she does. In any case, thanks for sharing, OP, and here's wishing you all the best. Now, let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user LankyAd2666. Am I the a-hole for kicking out my dad after he said he couldn't afford to feed me anymore? Here's the backstory. 28 male, got my own house now. Moved out at 18, not really by choice. My dad basically pushed me out. Our relationship has been rocky since then. He's always been a huge drinker and smoker, which caused plenty of issues back then. Fast forward, he lost his house a couple of months ago, didn't keep up with loan payments. So he calls me up, says he needs a place to stay while he gets back on his feet. I laid out a few ground rules, either pay rent, $400, or cover groceries, about $250 to $300, and absolutely no smoking in the house. He laughs, says, "I'm your father, I shouldn't have to pay." But I don't budge, so he reluctantly agrees to buy groceries. From the moment he moves in, it's just one problem after another. Leaves a mess everywhere, doesn't clean up, smokes inside even though I made it clear that's a no-go, and drinks like there's no tomorrow. Then one day I have a girl over and he just has this meltdown over it. So I tell him, listen, if he can't respect my space, he'll have to find somewhere else to stay. Things settle for a bit, but last week he hits me with, "I don't have the money to buy groceries this month." I'm like, why? He says, "Well, you eat a lot," and admits he spent all his cash on smoke and drinks. That was it for me. I was done with him acting like he owned the place, done with the flashbacks of dealing with him as a teen. I told him to pack up and leave. So, am I the a-hole? I set clear boundaries. He didn't follow through. No, OP, of course you're not the a-hole. Like you said in that last part, you set clear boundaries for him to move into your house. The fact that he started with, I shouldn't have to pay, I'm your father, is a really stupid argument. Maybe he should stop drinking and smoking so much, because there's no synapses in that one. Now, you didn't tell us his reaction to you asking him to move out, but maybe you'd want to write up a letter of eviction or something like that. The deal was clear. You can move in as long as you follow these rules. He didn't follow any of the rules, and you were too lenient in not calling him out when he started smoking inside. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments. Detroit Smash 8701 says, not the a-hole, your house, your rules. When the bills come in his name, then he can run his house the way he wants. Georgie says, not the a-hole, his I shouldn't have to pay showed his respect for you before he even moved in. Give him a month's notice, maybe, but that is as far as your charity should go. And Opie responds, I gave him until the first week of November. The only thing he actually needs to pack are his drinks and smokes. He had stored almost everything from his house in storage. Z4 Driver says, not the a-hole, kick him out. Apparently, losing his own house wasn't consequence enough for him to realize that he needs to change some things in his life. So, as he disrespected your reasonable rules, he needs to feel the consequences by losing the place he could stay again. And in case he gets family and friends involved, what inevitably will happen, you can tell everybody who says you should let him stay that they are welcome to open their home for your dad and offer him to stay with them. And Opie responds, quote, and in case he gets family and friends involved, what inevitably will happen, end quote. I'm already painted black in front of most family members. I don't know what they're going to tell me which they haven't already said earlier, lol. And OpenEqual1515 says, not the a-hole here, my friend. I mean, you gave him a chance to hit reset and he treated it like a free-for-all at Club Dad. The man really pulled the can't afford to feed you card in your own house while living rent-free, spending on smokes and drinks? Unreal. Boundaries were laid out in high definition and he chose to ignore them. So really, he kicked himself out. At this rate, he can afford some fresh air while he rethinks his life choices. Opie's edit, I'm glad I'm not the a-hole and thank you all for your support. I'd like to clear out a few things. 1. No, we didn't have a formal contract when he moved in. It was oral based. Kicking him out won't be easy as police don't tend to offer much support to a son in relation to their father. The societal response is that a son should take care of his old parents. 2. This was one of the reasons I agreed to take him in. Like, if I could do something good for him, maybe he'd change his view about me. The feeling of being validated by my own dad after years of neglect was strong, not gonna lie. I see now how foolish it was to take him in. And 3. How I'd get him out if he refuses to leave? He would go out to buy his supplies. I'd change the locks the moment he leaves and go out too. If he breaks anything, then it's cop time. So the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and he's got a pretty solid plan in case his dad doesn't want to move out. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. He moved out today. Sorry to disappoint y'all, but the process was surprisingly peaceful. The day of the last post, my dad told me he needed to talk. I braced myself. What he said was totally unexpected and welcome for me. He said that he couldn't bear the disrespect I've shown him and he was never going to contact me again. His words, "You failed me as a son." I told him if he needed help in the future, he could contact me, but he must abide by some conditions. He scoffed and said he was leaving soon and didn't talk to me again. He left today. As I said earlier in the first post, he had little to pack and had most of his possessions in storage. He didn't tell me where he was going and didn't bid adieu. Not gonna lie, I was comfortable with it. A toxic part of my life was being erased. I'm feeling a different kind of freedom, which I haven't felt even after I left home. Where he goes now is none of my concern, although I would have liked to at least know where he's going. Oh well, this is the update. Maybe a bit disappointing for this sub, but I personally am very relieved at how this played out. Thank you all for the advice and all the responses. This means a lot. Back to lurking with my main account. Peace. Well, OP, as I've heard some people say before, the trash took itself out, and apparently the trash was too proud to be treated by you with respect and requesting respect in return, which he didn't give. Honestly, I think it's just a stupid way to try to save face, but there's really no need to overanalyze this thing. The toxicity is out of your life, you're doing better, so here's wishing you the best in the future, OP. Thanks so much for sharing and take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.